Hello, dear viewer. Today we are taking you to the depths of the Age of Enlightenment, to the period when art ceased to appeal only to the upper class and was able to reach every segment of society. Let's take a look together at how and under what conditions this transformation took place. Social institutions such as academies and book clubs established during the Enlightenment period played an important role in shaping society's access to and perception of art. These type of institutions became places where many people who previously did not have access to art, literature, and the intellectual ideas could come together rather than places that appealed to certain people in society. These gathering places became areas where people could discuss and exchange ideas, and also provided many artists with the opportunity to succeed. Thanks to these developments brought by the Enlightenment, art became a more social and cultural area. In the Age of Enlightenment, access to art began to increase visibly and it became more accessible, rather than being an area that was previously mostly reserved for the aristocracy and upper classes. Before this period, art was largely seen as a privilege. Only the nobility could have an idea about art through the works they purchased for themselves. But with the increasing concepts such as reason and education during the Enlightenment, art began to show itself more in institutions such as academies and salons and became closer to society. The art academies established in Europe played an important role in the shaping of art, and these institutions provided educational opportunities to many artists. For example, in France, the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture provided students from modest origins with the opportunity to learn from established masters and display their works in public exhibitions.
During the Age of Enlightenment, art became more accessible to society and played an important role in changing philosophical approaches to art. It was increasingly emphasized that art did not only meet aesthetic needs but also took on an educational role. As art began to appeal to wider segments of society, discussions and evaluations on the purpose and function of art increased significantly. Enlightenment thinkers such as Denis Diderot argued that the purpose of art was not only to please but also to educate and elevate the human spirit. Artistic salons, especially in cities like Paris and London, became areas where art could be discussed and experienced more. These types of salons and social clubs brought together thinkers and artists from different social classes and provided them opportunities. So art moved away from a structure that was only seen in a certain part of society. The book clubs that were formed by mostly women provided people with intellectual environments where everybody could participate in discussions and readings in the 18th and 19th centuries. These women were highly educated, less family-oriented, and mostly self-made writers and artists who opposed the pressures from society and acted on their ideals. Although the Age of Enlightenment was a huge step for people from every social status to have a chance to participate in art schools, gatherings, and discussions, women were still not as credited as men during these times. Founders of the Blue Stockings, Elizabeth Montague and Elizabeth Vesey, who were intellectual women that considered the little to no education that was given to lower-class women was not enough. They formed this book club to gather a few people if they could, but this number rose to 400 or 500 from time to time. The reason this book club could be formed was mostly because the founders did not have many children to care for or a house to clean, because they were mostly from well-situated families. Elizabeth Montague mentions in one of her letters to her friend that in social gatherings, men always leave the women alone to entertain themselves while they talk about poems and history, the subjects that were unfamiliar to women due to their poor education. These occasions gave the founders the idea of the Blue Stockings, where women were educated by intellectual women and could participate in discussions themselves later. This led to a growth in interest of art among women, which was a huge step to enlightenment of the society.
During the Enlightenment, art academies played a crucial role in promoting societal mobility by providing structured and profound education and opportunity for those coming from lower socioeconomic backgrounds to advance and become known in the intellectual world. As previously mentioned, institutions such as the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture and the Royal Academy of Arts in Britain are one of the most eminent examples of this transformation. The Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture being established in the mid-17th century, was highly influential in the professionalizing and developing of the arts in France. By providing formal training in public displays, artists were able to gain recognition in the art world based on merit and talent rather than solely depending on social strata. The Academy underwent many reformations, such as increasing their membership to be accessible to a broader spectrum of artists. This new improvement allowed creative artists from low-income backgrounds to get proper education on art, to participate in major exhibitions, thus secure royal commissions to eventually raise their social positions. A continuation of the efforts of the Royal Academy were the free drawing schools established in the 18th century across France. These schools offered free drawing classes to the entire public, regardless of position and social class. They acted as the core contributors to the shaping of social mobility and the accumulation of free art education. By 1777, there were over 60 such schools differing in size and scope, with some teaching painting and sculpture in addition to drawing. These institutions enabled arts and art education to be available for everyone, and shifted the unapproachable stance of art, which used to be available only to higher classes of society. In Britain, a forerunner to the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture was established in the 18th century in the name of St. Martin's Lane Academy. It was founded by William Hogarth, who was formerly known in the circle of artists and designers that gathered in the famous Old Slaughter's Coffee House in London. This indicates that the role of coffee houses and art academies were highly correlated in the creation of social mobility and the availability of artistic education. The Royal Academy of Arts, founded later in the 18th century, carried on this tradition by providing formal training and public exhibitions, allowing artists from all backgrounds to attain a certain reputation. Accordingly, these academies and institutions not only created opportunities for talented individuals coming from all parts of society to gain prominence, but also played a significant role in the shaping of Enlightenment ideas and ideals, further contributing to the intellectual progress of the era.
During the Age of Enlightenment, art became much more accessible to society as a whole, moving away from being a privilege reserved for the aristocracy and upper classes. Art academies and salons played a crucial role in shaping art by offering educational opportunities to artists from diverse backgrounds. On the other hand, women created book clubs like the Blue Stockings, addressing societal pressure and inadequate education for lower-class women. They sought to educate women, stimulate art interest, and contribute to societal enlightenment. Finally, art academies like the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture in France and the Royal Academy of Arts in Britain fostered social mobility by providing structured education and opportunities for artists from lower socio-economic backgrounds to advance in the intellectual realm. All of these improvements, which were a result of Enlightenment ideas, consequently enabled art to become a much more socially diverse area.